Welcome back to the Pleb Underground YouTube show. Inspiring formula is already making me laugh. That's right, guys. Signal without the slop. Let's dive into it. We've got a lot of stories that we're going to cover. Unfortunately, we're also going to have to debunk some hopium that was going around yesterday that's just totally freaking wrong and no sources. And of course, Pleb Underground's probably one of the few, maybe Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, probably be another one that's actually going to tell the truth. But yeah, I wouldn't expect much more from any of the other quote unquote influencer YouTube shows. Anyways, guys, let's dive into what we're going to cover today. Bitcoin tips for creators. That's right, BITBIT. It's on Twitter or X. Anyways, I think it's pretty cool. Sounds interesting. Not too much of a fan about the back end of that particular service. However, I digress. Anyways, also looks like we've got a new TradFi player coming to the quote unquote Bitcoin space and leveraging Lightning. We'll take a look at that. The Wyoming Blockchain Symposium. That's right. Some CEO said how blockchain and digital assets are the future. We are surprised. Major investment firm is calling for 200K Bitcoin. And of course, Scaramucci, right? He's also echoing that sentiment. And another Bitcoin treasury. I know, you guys are surprised. Another Bitcoin treasury company. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's just another company announcing that they're adding to their Bitcoin treasuries. Guys, we are going to cover all of this. You know the deal. First, I'm going to give some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor. We're going to be right back. Let's do it. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Okay, so let's kick it off. So, not with that. I hate it when StreamYard does this. It's such a pain. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Anyways, all right. So the first story we're going on with is BITBIT. I actually am going to be trying this out. I don't see why not. At the very least, enable it, see how it goes. It's supposed to be just a Chrome extension. So yeah, guys, there you go. Bitcoin tipping now live on X. Meet BITBIT. Sounds good. I mean, look, can't complain. Powered by Spark, and who is Spark again? Is that ex Facebook guy? I don't know. It might be that ex Facebook guy. Anyways, good stuff for adoption, guys. Right? Obviously, we're not complaining about this. This is fantastic. You know, we already saw that tipping was enabled a while ago, but it wasn't using Bitcoin. And at the very least, now, okay. We're finally talking about Bitcoin. We're finally talking about Lightning with tips. Very good stuff. I am pleased about this. Some other fintechy type of news regarding Bitcoin, right, is SoFi. SoFi partnering with Lightspark. That is that guy from Facebook, Marcus something. Anyways, whatever. To power blockchain-enabled international money transfers. Now, you know that whenever you're dealing with one of these bigger corporations and they start talking about international remittances, what's one of the first things that you think of? I'll tell you, one of the first things that I think of is KYC, AML, and compliance. And of course, right there, letting everybody know, hey guys, you're going to be able to send this money. It's super easy. It's going to be using the Lightning rails. However, payer compliance, sender compliance, because it's all about compliance. Now, how are they going to be doing this? Lightspark is using this universal money address. UMA is like an email address, but for money. Sounds simple enough, right? And they're using the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Now, for the people who were afraid, right? Or for the people who have been saying like, look, KYC is coming to Lightning. This, to me, is one of those examples where we're going to get bigger players coming into the space, and the rails that they are going to offer, like, yeah, you know, they can't do it. They cannot do it without using KYC, AML. And you have it right here, guys, part of the code. They're going to be looking at that right away. So before your payment goes on the Lightning Network, the first thing that's going to happen is compliance sender, compliance receiver data, right? Is this person allowed to make this transaction? Yes? Okay, go to the Lightning Network. And then it's going to go to a level down. It's... Anyways, I get it. Double-edged sword, right? Some people are going to cheer and say this is adoption. Fantastic. I'm obviously of the, the opinion that, hey, fantastic adoption. KYC AML, not fantastic. Having to put a compliance layer on top of it. This is crap. This is crap. But we can't expect that companies like SoFi, right? Publicly traded companies like SoFi, these fintech companies, if you think for a second that they're just going to not bend the knee, they don't have a choice. They are way too big. They've got shareholders, board of directors. They don't have a choice but to bend the knee. All right. So we should not be surprised. And I guess the best thing we can do is just kind of cheer that, cheer that it's happening. I mean, the Lightning adoption, not the KYC AML crap, obviously. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going, guys, because the news kind of, I guess it gets better. Why not? The next thing we are going to take a look at over here is new Bitcoin treasury company. Who this? Oh, no, can't show that one yet. All right. Too many tabs. Well, then I guess we are going to move on to RBC, right? There you go. Royal Bank of Canada. For the people who are not Canadian and don't know anything about Canada, Royal Bank of Canada is one of the biggest banks in Canada, but then you'd also have to ask, how many banks do they have in Canada? Not that many. It's like Royal Bank, RBC, Bank of Montreal, CIBC. I mean, there's maybe 5 major banks in Canada. So it's no surprise. I know that, BitcoinTreasuries.net is touting that, hey, it's exposure to Bitcoin. At least they're reporting it accurately, right? It is exposure to Bitcoin, although it is derivative exposure by buying MicroStrategy shares. All right, we'll take it. I guess we'll take it. We have another one like this, guys. We have another boxable. Now, this one is a little bit more, I actually think this is a little more interesting than RBC buying shares. Yeah, exactly, Shed Boy. Paper Bitcoins, who gives a shit, right? I don't disagree. I think that's crap. But of course, right, we have to make it sound like it's amazing, because if biases aren't being confirmed, then, oh, this makes me sad. So yeah, just be happy about it, right? Bitcoin is amazing. Boxable, right? The modular home builder. Very interesting. Anyways, look at these guys. Disclosing that they're holding 10 BTC. It's interesting. I actually find this way more bullish than RBC buying MicroStrategy shares. I appreciate that, right? And guess what? 10 Bitcoin is something I believe a company like this can afford to hold on their balance sheet easily, right? They're not going to be sitting there to be tempted to sell it so they can keep the lights on. And why not? Good for them. Good for Boxable. All right, moving on to, let's see here, some comments. All right, comments out of the Wyoming blockchain. What is it? The Wyoming blockchain symposium that's it's been going on this week. Yeah, let's see here. The excitement about digitizing assets.
Events like the one you're attending right now that kind of catalyze a lot of that. What message does it send that Michelle Bowman, a Fed Vice Chair of Banking Supervision, is attending the conference? What does that signal to the crypto industry? What does that signal to the financial services industry?
Well, I think it signals that this is becoming mainstream, right? Digital assets are going to become mainstream. Now, that doesn't mean all of them. I think there's going to be some that, like in anything, you have to be sort of careful and really understand the space. But again, this underlying technology is so powerful that bringing it together, and I think a recognition that it is important for regulators, it's important for for traditional financial people to understand the space and to figure out how to converge these things together.
Yeah. Okay. So TLDR, we don't care about Bitcoin. Shed boy. We don't care about Bitcoin. We love digital assets. We obviously they want to figure out how they can, how they can monetize this as best possible. It's no surprise, guys. It's no surprise, right? Like everybody who's telling you that these institutions are excited about Bitcoin, fucking lying to you. Plain and simple. None of these institutions are excited about Bitcoin. They're only excited about the corralled crap that they can shill to people who don't understand Bitcoin. That's it. I know it's terrible, but it's the truth. Anyways, moving on, right? Moving on, more excitement, guys, right? So she's super excited. And of course, Franklin Templeton's going to be selling some of those products to you, right? And be selling some of those products. Yeah, Roman, I agree. It is the Grift Posium. It's good times. Okay. Anyways, moving on here. Now, let's get into some okay. We'll do some predictions before we break the big news. Okay, I'll get into some predictions. So, first things first, right? For the people who don't know who AllianceBernstein is, major investment firm. They're worth hundreds, or they have hundreds of billions of dollars under management. And guess what, guys? They're saying the bull market's not over. It's extending to 2027. This is now the second or third article that I see that touts that. This time it's different, right? This time the bull market is extending into 2027 and we could reach 200K. Again, right, guys, I'm a Bitcoin holder. So if all of these outlandish claims are right, we all win, right? We all win, right? What I don't want to see people doing is all of a sudden, going and putting, mortgages on their house or taking on loans that they can't afford to service to go and buy a shitload of Bitcoin in the hopes that you're going to get that magic number. These people know nothing. I know nothing. Okay, so take it easy. Staying solvent. I hate quoting Vikingo, but I have to, right? He's, as annoying as it is, he's right. You got to stay solvent. It's like the most important thing. Okay, but look, if AllianceBernstein wasn't enough, maybe the king of the Oompa Loompas himself will convince you.
There's been pain and euphoria in the Bitcoin markets over the last 5 years. I think what's happening now is lots of consolidation and institutional adoption. So if you went to a conference like this 3 years ago, it was mostly retail investors and CEOs working in the layer one blockchain space. Today, it's lots more institutional investors. So that's finally starting to happen. If you look at the numbers on something like the BlackRock ETF, the IBIT ETF, you can see now, Andrew, there's lots of institutions coming in. So what's interesting is that some of the whales have been selling. So I know I've seen your interviews with Michael Novogratz and the 80,000 Bitcoins that sold last month. And so there's a consolidation story happening. There's a change of ownership story happening. But I think we're going higher just because you just look at the math. There's just way more demand than issued supply of Bitcoin or, existing overall supply in the marketplace. So we still maintain our price target between 180 and 200,000 by year end. And I think that's a cautious price target, by the way. I think there are people that are way above us, those levels.
There you go. You said it. 200K. Boom. Okay. Multiple sources, guys. Multiple sources. True if big. We'll see if it actually gets there. We will see if it actually gets there. This cycle. I mean, obviously, I believe that Bitcoin goes well beyond 200K. I'm just saying in this particular cycle. Anyways, there's other charts showing that the bull market's over in like 6 or 7 days, right? So I don't believe that either. So anyways, that's a good one, Roman. Yes, Scamamucho. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So the last story, This one was an interesting one for me because I was excited, right? I was excited about it. You know, of course, self-proclaimed Bitcoin historian, right? This account, this heavy shill account, $22 billion Air Canada pension fund reveals $161 million allocation. Boom! $161 million allocation. But wait, Bitcoin Archive, $161 million allocation. Story's not true. The story is not true. There is not a single source that shows that that is accurate. As of right now, there's no verifiable evidence from official sources, right? Not from Air Canada, not from their regulatory filings, not from their website that supports the claim that Air Canada's pension fund has allocated $161 million. The source for that post is essentially BTC Archive. This is the sorry, this is the source for this post. Okay. Now you might be saying, Phil, come on, man. Like you're just being a hater. Why are you being a hater? It's not about being a hater. You got to pay attention to you got to pay. Yeah, they're definitely going to need it. That's for sure, Jason. 100%. Like for sure, they're going to need it. There's no question. But the point is that the story's not true. And you might say, well, why would that story come out then when it did? So if you're paying attention to Canadian news, you'd know that Air Canada has just their flight attendants had just completed, or they just agreed to stop striking because there's been a new agreement, right? They've been losing about $131,000 a day. So Air Canada is in the news. Air Canada's getting a lot of attention. Why not put out this bullshit and make Bitcoiners cheer, right? And these are outlets, right? These are supposedly our news outlets, right? That are supposed to be that are supposed to be informing us about what is actually happening in this space. And yet every single headline you check, you have to go and you have to double check them because you can't even trust them, right? So this BS that I used to hear when I first got into this space about, Bitcoiners seek the truth and freedom and fucking bullshit. Okay, because we've got the biggest accounts in this space shilling us fucking crap. Anyways, not a real story. Air Canada's not buying Bitcoin, although to the comments of the people, to the point of the people in the comments, they should be buying Bitcoin, but they're not. But hopefully they will be, but not right now. Anyways, guys, that does it for us for this episode, and I will catch you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.